After intense planning and preparation, an all-out firebombing raid on Tokyo, codenamed Operation Meeting House, was set to take place. March 9th, 1945, at 5:34 p.m., 334 B-29 superfortresses took off from air bases in Guam, Saipan, and Tinian. At 12:15 a.m. on March 10th, the first planes reached their target. Hell on earth wooden atomic bombings. Japan was devastated by a strategic bombing campaign responsible for an unimaginable amount of destruction and loss of civilian life. The campaign's defining moment is often cited as the single most destructive act of war in human history. 279 bombers dropped over 1,600 tons of incendiary bombs, including 500,000 cylinders of white phosphorus and napalm. The destruction was unimaginable. The dry, windy conditions allowed the fire to spread rapidly. Tokyo's firefighters abandoned hope at fanning the flames. The citizens tried jumping into pools or the nearby river, but there was no safety from the heat that reached over 1,800 degrees. The loss of life was so great that the smell of burning flesh that wafted up sickened the bomber pilots, and they were forced to grab oxygen masks to keep from vomiting. The raid lasted slightly longer than 3 hours. Tail gunners could see the glow of the fire for 150 miles on the return trip. It is impossible to accurately calculate the true number of casualties, but estimates suggest that between 80 and 130,000 people were killed in the firestorm in a single night. One doctor at the scene recorded, "In the Black Sumida River, countless bodies were floating. Clothed bodies, naked bodies, all black as charcoal. It was unreal." 16 square miles of the Tokyo suburb were destroyed, including over 267,000 buildings. Over 1 million Japanese citizens were rendered homeless. Tokyo burned for days after the attack. But this was not a one-and-done raid. Roused by the success of Operation Meeting House, Curtis LeMay and U.S. leaders were quick to exploit the new tactics. While Tokyo searched for its dead, the attacks turned to other cities. Over the next 10 days, B-29 nighttime firebombing missions laid waste to 3 more of Japan's largest cities, burning out an additional 16 square miles of Nagoya, Osaka, and Kobe. The firebombing of Tokyo had not been a fluke, and Japan had no answer for the attacks. From March of 1945 until June 15th, Japan's 6th largest and most important industrial cities had been ruined. 21st Bomber Command shifted focus to smaller cities. Over the next 2 months, dozens of small to medium-sized Japanese cities were firebombed by American B-29s. In the small cities, the raids were just as destructive. On average, across 61 small to medium-sized cities, the raids destroyed 49% of the total urban area. It was only after a majority of Japan's cities had already been destroyed that the atomic bombs were detonated and the war ended. The aftermath of the United States firebombing campaign against Japan was staggering. Overall, roughly 180 square miles across 67 cities were reduced to rubble and ash. Somewhere between 200 and 300,000 Japanese civilians lost their lives, and an additional 200 to 300,000 were injured. Over 8 million people were left homeless. The death toll from the firebombing of Tokyo is greater than that from the Nagasaki bombing, and comparable to the Hiroshima bombing. Although these numbers are important, the focus on casualty statistics undermines the true sufferings of the Japanese citizens, and the dislocation of the millions forced to flee the bombed towns and cities.